Hey guys, it's Joey, and welcome to the very first episode. So this is a new show I'm trying out. Each week we're going to tackle 3 conspiracy theories in the news. We're just going to discuss them. We're not going to go into detail. I'm just going to bring them to everyone's attention. This show is meant to be fun, meant to get you thinking, meant to get you, scoping around the internet, coming to your own conclusions. And then you guys can discuss what you think in the comments. You can do your own research and come to your own conclusions about whether you believe in this or not, or think it's hilarious or strange or it gives you the creeps. The whole meaning of the show is for fun. Have a fun outlook at conspiracy theories, maybe get some goosebumps. So 3 stories each week. Let's get into the first episode. Okay, so our first story comes from a website called express.co.uk. This story was about a retired professor from Canada that claims that the Roswell crashes in the 1940s was true. It was an alien cover-up. It wasn't sort of a crash, like an airplane crash landing. This professor is certain that there were dead alien bodies recovered at Roswell. We've heard tons and tons of Roswell stories, but I thought this one was cool. This is what Professor Don Bhandari said about the crashes in Roswell. The U.S. government recovered the remains of a crashed, unidentified flying object, or to be more correct, an extraterrestrial vehicle. He also said, it is believed they also recovered bodies of dead aliens. Now, this is something everybody has sort of assumed for a long time now. But this guy really believes it. He feels like it's obvious. He feels like it's definitely something that happened. And the reason and the notion behind it, which is another thing that a lot of people have talked about, was that the technology they retrieved from the ship was so advanced. They needed to cover it up because it was too much for anybody to handle. Here's another quote from Don Bhandari. The technology involved is extremely advanced. The implications for human society are incredible and possibly upsetting because we are under surveillance by technologically superior beings from other planets. So we're being watched by aliens. This Roswell crash was probably some kind of error, some glitch in their system. They crashed. Maybe it was intentional, who knows, just to probe us a little bit more, see how we'd react to something like that. There's a lot of really good quotes in this article. He makes a lot of good points. I'm going to link to it in the description below if you want to learn more about this story. Roswell is a mystery that will seem to go on forever until we get some straight hard facts from somebody. But now it's just something that's almost 80 years ago now. Okay, our next story is another one I thought was pretty cool. Is NASA hiding aliens? This one is from the dailymail.co.uk, another British website. They seem to like their UFO conspiracies. Now, this one is a little bit less, sort of intellectual or factual or educational. This one is a straight up conspiracy. So a YouTube user called Cold Pyro noticed while watching a NASA feed at the space station up there, that there was something very strange happened. So they had a feed of just a shot into space. If you blinked, you would have missed it. There's a little white light that sort of just appears and zigzags out of frame, and you see the astronaut's hand go to cover it sort of like this, but it's already late. The thing has happened. Unless they covered something else, they saw something else that the camera didn't pick up, and they covered it. Really, why would you just intentionally cover the lens like that? It was more like this. It was the back of the hand, but so it's real. I'm gonna post a clip of this video right now. So it looks like it just sort of zigzags away, out of screen. You can't even see it for too long. And there have been other instances of this little light blips. Of course, it could be so terribly far away. It's hard to determine what it could be. It could be doctored footage for all we know. But this apparently is coming from the actual NASA, video stream from the International Space Station. So it's pretty legit, to say the least. There are other videos like this. There's the zigzag one I'm talking about. This astronaut one, it was sort of just a dot that was sort of moving slightly, and he goes to cover it up. But it's strange. Why? What is that? What would that be? Would that be a planet, star, just, moving? You want to think extraterrestrial immediately. Of course. And apparently after this happens, the feed just cuts out. It goes to a blue screen. Interesting stuff, I'd say. Very, very interesting stuff.
Really weird stuff.
Again, the link to this story will be in the description, so you could check out the full story. And our last story of the day was one I thought was pretty cool. We hear a lot about people being abducted and people having alien babies, sort of hybrid alien babies, or they're shown things that are overwhelming for them and they really don't know how to deal with it. But this story is really cool. It takes a bit of that abduction hybrid baby thing, and it takes it to like a very nice, comforting place. Okay, so this woman was abducted by aliens, and they actually, according to her, this woman goes by Anna, they told her they wanted help. They wanted some help with their hybrid project, so they chose me, end quote. She also said, I discern who I tell and who I don't because I can tell who's ready for that information and who's not. I don't want to freak people out. And I'm sure it would be freaky, especially if you're a loved one, relative, significant other, and you hear that you were abducted and your eggs were harvested to make alien hybrid babies. I'm sure you'd be a little taken aback. But the cool part about this story is that she was one of these people. They have this conference called the Close Encounters Conference, and this takes place in South Wales, Australia, New South Wales, Australia. And it's basically a conference for people who believe they had been abducted or know they've been abducted by aliens. According to this article, about 3,000 people have claimed to be abducted. They were at this conference. They claimed the conference was very healing for them. It was a safe place. So, Mary Rodwell of the Edgar Mitchell Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Encounters found something very interesting about these people that claim or were abducted, and they came to speak to her at the conference. This is a quote she said about these people. They've talked about seeing strange craft in the sky, being taken to a spacecraft, procedures being done to them, being educated on the craft. So the aliens are teaching them. And what we're finding is that 85% of the people change their lifestyle after these experiences. What we're finding is that people are speaking about their experiences in an overwhelmingly positive way. So these abductions actually affect them in a good way, which is really interesting because a lot of the times portrayed in science fiction, it always ends up with the person losing their mind or, just crazy circumstances happening to them. So this is portraying these, I guess, extraterrestrials as being beneficial to people. They're helping people. Maybe they're trying to get hybrid people to make people more intelligent and more, stronger, just more able to sustain the planet, and maybe, form some sort of alliance or, interspecies new thing. I don't know. Rodwell also said that their attitude to the materialistic world changes. They become more ecologically minded. They feel more empathy for the planet and themselves. And they are being changed in ways that many people can't understand. When you hear doctors, nurses, social workers, pilots, celebrities, lawyers, farmers, children talk about this experience, when they're all talking about similar things and similar patterns, and you hear the emotion and the feeling, all of that is authenticity you cannot dismiss. It's really powerful. So people from all walks of life, everyone is getting abducted, and they're all coming back with like this really positive, empowering experience. I mean, you could think they've gone on some kind of spiritual journey if you're a more spiritual person. You could say that maybe it was sort of a dream or an epiphany they had, and they felt maybe that it projected this abduction in their mind. Or you could believe they were actually abducted. The reason I thought this article was so cool was because it's so interesting to see such a positive perspective on abduction. These people have a good abduction story. They have a good experience that helped them positively. Some of them even sort of were okay with being used to create these hybrid aliens because, you know, it's a promise of better times, better, you know, a more evolved, more strong and progressive race. It's just incredible to think about. Rodwell also said, we're bringing people together who have had encounters and trying to make it something that can be discussed in an environment where they won't be ridiculed and where they can discover they're not alone. Really beautiful stuff. Thank you guys for watching. All the links to these stories will be in the description below. This is a first episode, so there's growing pains. I'm going to learn how to, you know, set this up in a way that's more entertaining and informative to you. Please, I would take any advice, any criticism, any questions in the comments section below. And also take some love, of course, if that is something that is interesting to you. If you like this video, please subscribe, and then I will be making more. I shall see you guys on the next episode. Stay tuned.